Okay, so we started 1.5 today, and students are required to do the exploration. So you need to do that on your own. And what you should notice is that you end up rearranging your equation of the area a little bit to find width, okay? So you can do that, but that leads us into why we're doing the rewriting of formulas. That's what this section is. Now 1.4 was rewriting equations. Rewriting equations and rewriting formulas are the same thing. So our first examples are just rewriting equations again, okay? So I want to solve for C. So I'm trying to get that C all by itself. In this case, it only has one thing in front of it. Now, there's no plus or minus, no symbol between that constant or that number and that variable. That means it's being multiplied. That seems to be a common confusion, is that, oh, I'm going to subtract it from both sides because it's positive 4. Well, no, because it doesn't have a plus or minus. It is being multiplied. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I divide both sides by 4. Those 4's cancel, and I'm left with C equals D over 4. Okay? Number 2, I'm trying to get N by itself. Okay? Well, it has this minus 6M. Now there is a minus, so I have to do the opposite of that, which is add. And do not combine that 8 and 6. One's a constant, one has a variable, but these ones cancel, so I get N equals, and you still have your variable, and you still have that constant. Okay, so your equations or your answers should be equations because you have more than one variable. Now for 3, I'm solving for P. Now there's more than one step here. If I look on that side of the equal sign, I need to start farthest from P, and that's always if there's something added or subtracted. I have to move that first. So I'm going to move the 5R. So I get 2P equals Q minus 5R. Then I divide. So you add or subtract, then you multiply or divide. Like that's the step first. So I'm going to divide by 2. So these cancel, and I'm left with P equals Q minus 5R over 2. Okay? Now if you turn it over, number 4 wants us to solve for X. So on that side, I need to get rid of the plus or minus first, and this one has a plus, so I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to write this XY first. I just like having the variable I'm wanting on the left, and then this is going to go after. So I have a negative Z minus 10. I need X by itself, so I'm going to divide by Y. I have to divide everything on the other side by Y. These cancel, and I'm left with X equals negative Z minus 10 all over Y. Now 5 and 6 are similar, but now the variable I'm wanting is in the denominator. Can't really solve for it when it's there. So I need to get it out of the denominator. So to get something out of a denominator, if I multiply that side times B, well, if I do it to that side, I have to do it to this side. But multiplying times B makes the denominator cancel to 1. So I have 1 times A, which is just A, equals C times B or B times C. And now I can solve for B. It's not in a denominator anymore, but it's being multiplied by C. Remember, if there's no plus or minus in between them, it's multiplied. So I divide by C, so B is going to equal A divided by C. Okay, same goes for number 6. J is in the denominator, so I need to multiply this side times J and this side times J. These J's cancel, I'm left with an H minus 4. Here I have a KJ or JK, and then I still want to solve for J, so I'm going to divide by K. These cancel, so I'm left with J equals, whoops, I crossed off my J there, H minus 4 over K. Now number 7 and 8 are examples of why you rewrite the equation so that way you find your answer very quickly. So it gives us this formula where C is the total cost of hosting a party at the skating rink, and P is the number of people, and it wants us to solve for P. So I always have to get rid of this plus, if there's a plus or minus first. So I'm going to subtract 215, and again, I'm writing the P first. So I have that 5P still equals C minus 215. And then I have to divide by 5. So P is going to equal C minus 215, all divided by 5. Now, you can write each term over 5. So I'm okay with this being your answer and finished. But I want you to know it also equals a c over 5 minus a 215 over 5, which actually simplifies to like 43 or something. So you can write it that way, c over 5 minus 43, or just leave it like this. But when you put this in a calculator, like we're about to do, you need to either put parentheses around the top or get an answer, push enter on your calculator, and then divide by 5, okay? You have to divide everything on the top by 5. So now it says her parents are willing to spend $3,000, not $30,000, that'd be crazy, $3,000 for a party, and that's crazy enough. But how many people can she have? Well, P was for people, so now if I use this equation, and I plug in that $3,000 for the cost, and I divide by 5. So again, like I said, if you have a calculator, and I'm going to show you why real quick. So I just have this calculator here. If I just type this in as 3,000 minus 215 divided by 5, without parentheses or separating that whole top from the division, it is only going to divide that 215 by 5. So I get that. Well, hopefully she can't invite that many people. That's crazy. So if I either put parentheses around the 3,000 and then divide by 5, I get 557. That's still an awful lot of people, but that's actually the right answer. Or if you take that 3,000, subtract 215, push enter, get an answer, divide that answer by 5, it also gets you that 557. So you just have to make sure to separate it out because this doesn't separate it out. Okay, so you got 557 people. That's a lot of people to have on a skating rink at one time. Okay, number 8 gives us the area of a triangle, and it wants us to solve for B. So B is being multiplied by a half and H. Now normally I could divide by both at the same time and just get it B by itself, but this half kind of poses a problem. We do not like dividing by a fraction. So I'm actually going to multiply both sides by 2. The fraction cancels. So I'll have BH equals 2 times A, so 2A. Now I need B by itself, so I'm going to divide by H. So I have B equals 2A over H. That's an H. There we go. Now it tells me it has the area of 192, has the height of 12. What is the base? So B equals 2 times capital A, which is the area, 192, divided by H, which was 12. Okay, and you plug all that into calculator. Now, because it's not adding and subtracting on the top, I know that's confusing, but multiplication and division, it just goes in order. But when you do add addition or subtraction and then division or multiplication, it does the division multiplication part first. So here I can just type in 2 times 192 and divide by 12, and I get 32 millimeters, and that is correct, okay? It's just one of those things with calculators you got to get used to using. It wants to do multiplication and division first, so if something is grouped together like we had on this problem where something was grouped on the top together, you have to have parentheses or push enter, get that answer first before dividing or multiplying to it.